All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to unpack a really powerful idea from Chapter 6 of J. Daniel Alejo's book, Tending the Garden. It's all about these invisible forces that are constantly shaping how you think, how you feel, and, what you do every day.
So, let me just ask you straight up, what's really shaping you? I mean, beyond the obvious choices you think you're making. There are these subtle currents from your job, your family, even the memes you scroll past that are kind of pulling you in directions you can't always put your finger on. Have you ever felt that? That little nudge you can't explain?
Well, it turns out there's actually a blueprint for all these influences. Alejos argues that every single day we engage with the world in 4 specific, often hidden ways. It's like seeing the code running in the background of your life. And trust me, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now, to understand this code, we've got to get one key term down: praxis. It sounds fancy, but it's a really simple, profound idea. Praxis is just the act of putting your ideas into practice. That's it. It's the bridge between what you believe in your head and what you actually do with your body. It's how a thought, a belief, becomes a real-world behavior. And this whole praxis thing, it doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It's shaped by 4 fundamental ways we engage with everything around us: story, game, instruction, and philosophy. These are the 4 hidden channels that the world uses to get into your head and heart.
And here's what's so cool. These 4 modes aren't just random. They fit together perfectly. You can basically map them on a grid based on 2 simple questions. First, is the meaning something you feel and live through, or is it something that's named and explained to you? And second, is it happening in just one specific moment, or is it part of a bigger, ongoing system? This grid right here, this is our map for the whole thing.
Okay, so let's start with mode 1, the one that goes straight for the heart before the head has time to react. I'm talking about story. This is all about the things that make us feel something, the narratives that shape our identity before our logical brain can even put up a fight. The book nails the definition. A story is simply a specific moment that makes you feel something about what matters. See, a good story doesn't argue with you, it just shows you. It completely bypasses our defenses and hits us right where we live. And yeah, of course, we see stories in movies and books. That's the obvious stuff. But the real power comes from spotting the hidden stories, like the origin story a brand tells to make you feel connected to it, or the family lore about your grandpa that kind of defines what it means to be in your family. Even a meme format, that's a tiny, repeatable story that teaches you who the good guy is and who the bad guy is. It's everywhere.
Okay, on to our second mode, game. This is all about the systems we have to navigate every day. And I'm not just talking about chess or video games. A game, in this sense, is any system with rules, whether they're spoken or not, and feedback loops that teach you how to win.
So, the book defines a game as a repeated pattern of rules plus feedback that teaches you what works. And that word teaches is so important. Games are teachers, but they're sneaky. They rarely give you a lecture. You just learn by playing, by winning, by losing, by figuring out the system. And this is where you realize just how many games you're playing. Sure, sports are games, but what about the hidden ones? The social media game of chasing likes and followers. The unwritten rules of the office promotion game, where you figure out what behavior actually gets you ahead. Or even that keep mom calm game some families play at dinner. These games are constantly training our instincts.
All right, let's look at mode number 3. Instruction. Now this one's probably the most straightforward of the bunch. It's all about the lessons we absorb when someone tells us directly what to do.
The definition is simple. It's direct guidance that tells you what to do or how to do it. It's not about feeling your way through a story or navigating a game. It's just about being told, step by step, here's how it's done. But again, the real magic is seeing the whole spectrum. A YouTube tutorial on how to fix a leaky faucet, that's clear instruction. But the real insight is spotting the subtle instruction, the way you might unconsciously copy your parents' tone of voice on the phone, or when a coworker pulls you aside and explains the real rules of the office. Those moments are teaching you just as much, if not more, about how the world works. And that brings us to the big one, our final mode, philosophy. This is about the thoughts we explore. This is the big picture framework that organizes everything else and tells us what's true, what's good, and what really matters in the end. So you can think of philosophy as the big picture framework that tells you what's true, what's good, and what matters. It's basically the operating system for your entire worldview. It's the thing that answers the question, why? Now, when we hear philosophy, we might think of a college class or a TED Talk, and sure, that's the explicit side of it. But look at the implicit philosophies all around us. Those little phrases we say all the time, like everything happens for a reason, or follow your heart. Those aren't just cute sayings. They are massive philosophical claims about how the universe works, and we live by them every day, often without ever really thinking about them.
So, we've laid out the 4 modes, but here's the most important part. In the real world, they almost never show up by themselves. The world is messy, right? So let's talk about how these modes overlap and work together to shape us in some really powerful ways.
Let's just take one perfect example we all live and breathe: social media. Think about it. You are constantly consuming stories, day-in-the-life videos, drama, before and after transformations. You are playing a game for likes, shares, and followers, with the algorithm giving you rewards. You're getting constant instruction from 5 tips for productivity reels, and you are absorbing a philosophy through repeated slogans like "cut out toxic people" or "self-care above all." It's all happening at once. It's telling you what to want, how to get it, and why it's okay to want it. So look, the goal here isn't to be a scientist and perfectly categorize every single experience into one of these 4 boxes. That's impossible. The goal is to recognize the mix. The real power comes from seeing how they all dance together in any given situation. Which brings us to your new toolkit. You can start using this literally right now. The next time you're watching something or in a meeting or talking with a friend, just ask yourself, is this a story trying to make me feel something? Is this a game with rules and rewards? Is this instruction telling me what to do? Or is this philosophy explaining the bigger picture? Just asking these questions changes everything.
And this quote from the book just ties it all together perfectly. You aren't just listening to content. You're being shaped by the mode in which that content lives. Let that sink in. The how is just as important as the what. A fact delivered as a story shapes you totally differently than that same fact delivered as a list of instructions.
So, we've spent all this time talking about how you are being shaped. But this whole framework, it cuts both ways. So let's end with this one final thought. Now that you can see these modes, what modes are you using to shape others? Because whether you're a parent, a boss, a friend, or you're creating stuff online, you are actively shaping the people around you. The only question is, now that you know the tools, what kind of shaper are you going to be?